Okay, round two. We're gonna give this another try. So I got off of Be Live, and now I'm streaming right into the Facebook group through the live video feature. Hopefully you can hear me now and you can see me. So come on back if you were just with me sitting there for 5 minutes, not able to hear me and see me. Let me know if this is working. Today's live show on Momentum with Megan is all about the foundational principles to build your $500,000 coaching business. And we're not just talking about $500,000 over 10 years, we're talking about building up to a $500,000 a year coaching business. So I'm going to break down those principles for you. I believe I have 10. So I'm pretty much going to teach it to you in an order at which you want to be growing your business. So some of you may be on the newer side, others of you have been doing this for a while. Oftentimes what we see with coaches growing businesses or online entrepreneurs is they're just simply doing things in the wrong order. So sometimes a coach shared that with you, or you took a program, or you took a course, and I call that being misguided on the fastest path to profits with the least amount of stress, the least amount of resistance, but what's going to get us there the fastest way. Sometimes we're noticing that people are watching what others are doing to grow their business, and so they just keep jumping from tactic to strategy and offer to offer, again, being misguided. So I think there's just a lot of misguidedness in our industry, and then people seem to be working for years and years and years and years in their business, and they wonder why they're not further along. So I'm going to demystify that for you today. So if you can see me, if you can hear me, if you're catching this live, go ahead and say hello in the chat. If you're catching the replay, just give us a hashtag replay. I hope you're having an amazing Tuesday today. Building your businesses, connecting with your clients, and building those relationships. I'm really excited to dive into today's show. So let's go ahead and do it. And I'm just checking my notes. I do have 10 different things I'm going to share with you. Some of this may sound really simple and easy. You may not hear anything brand new that you have never heard before, but I think the question needs to become, are you actually doing what you're hearing? Are you doing it in the right order? Are you doing it at the right time? Are you doing it with the right guidance? Are you doing it in a way that is really focused? Are you doing it consistently? Are you doing it repetitively? And are you giving yourself the opportunity to reach a level of mastery? Yes, in your craft, and offer also a level of mastery in being able to deliver your programs, a level of mastery in your sales, a level of mastery in building relationships with people, a level of mastery in nurturing your audience, in generating leads, a level of mastery in your marketing system, the particular strategy or strategies or tactics that you're using, a level of mastery in your sales process, in your sales system. And I think what's happening to a lot of folks is they're trying a lot of things, they're trying a lot of strategies, they're trying a lot of tactics. Obviously in this industry, there's not really one right way to build a business. There's not just one kind of right offer for everybody to make. And we start seeing people who are selling membership sites for $47 a month, and then you think you need to go do that. And then we see people who have the $1,000 course, and it's all sold through an automated webinar funnel. And then we see people thinking that that's what they're going to do. And then we see funnels where you can buy something for $27, then you're upsold for something that's $77, and then you're upsold again for something that's $297. We see that. We see retreats. We see live events. We see group coaching programs. We see big ones, we see small ones. We see one-on-one coaching, VIP days. We see pretty much anything under the sun that you can make money for. Somebody's doing it, and we're all watching it. We have access to the internet. We have access to all these people's email lists. You've been in people's funnels. You know when you're in a funnel. You've watched how people are growing their businesses. You can see somewhat what their business model is. You can see what their offers are. Everybody talks about how much money they make. And I think that what has also happened with folks is they make themselves believe, oh, well, my fastest path to generating multiple six figures in my business must be this over here because this other coach is doing it and it's working really well for her, so I'm going to go try that. And then it doesn't work, or it doesn't work to the degree that they thought it was going to work, and now they're on to the next thing. So you see this all the time. Unfortunately, I see it more than I would like to see it. And in this business, I really think in any business, you've got to be two things, and you kind of have to be two things all the time. They may sound a little contradictory. You have to be really, really hungry all the time, and you also have to be very patient in this business, especially if you want to be around for a really long time. So let me jump over here and see. Okay, cool. All right. So let's dive into step number one. So step number one, this might sound like it's a newbie step, but if you are someone who is already making 5 figures or you're already making low 6 figures in your business, you still want to really tune into step number one. So step one is decide on your market and the problem that you're going to solve. So it is very possible for you to build a 6-figure business, kind of being a little on the general side, kind of having a good idea of the main problems that you solve, and kind of having an idea of the results that you help someone achieve. But at some point, you're going to stop growing at a relatively steady or fast pace if you are not really nailing this in your messaging and in your positioning. So our ability to get attention, get the attention of our ideal audience, to move people through whatever our marketing system is, and then to promote and sell our offer, we have to be able to identify, using the words that our ideal client is using, the problem that they desire to have solved. And let me give you a tip or two about who your ideal client is. This is how I want you to think about who your ideal client is for your programs that you're selling. Your ideal client, think of them as the person who can get the most out of what it is that you have to offer. Sure, all of us could solve a lot of people's problems. We could solve a lot of different problems for one single person. We could help a lot of different people get a result. We could help the same kind of person get a lot of different results. But the problem with that is you're not actually becoming known for any one thing. And I was at a conference earlier this year in January, and Chalene Johnson was one of the keynote speakers. And one of the things that she talked about was there was this time in her career where she literally had like 7 to 8 different businesses. And she was trying to build up her brand, and she was trying to really make something of herself during this time. These were in the earlier years, and she had literally 7 to 8 different businesses. And so she realized in that moment, she's like, I've got to figure out where my greatest opportunity is. And I've got to become known for something. I've got to become known for one thing. And once I become known for that one thing, then that will serve as the stepping stone for me to do the next big thing that I'm going to do in my career and in my business. And so Chalene Johnson, if you know that name, we actually, when we think of Chalene, we think of her earlier days when she was in the fitness industry. And she developed a way of working out called PIYO. I think it's spelled P-I-Y-O. And she has a lot of videos. I think it's for Beachbody. I think it's the company Beachbody. And she does a lot of the personal training, fitness, aerobics, PIYO fitness classes and DVDs and online training for them. That's her. She's one of those. And that was from 20 plus years ago. Well, now what her business is actually about now is marketing. She teaches people marketing, specifically on Instagram. But where her opportunity was 20 to 25 years ago, it was in fitness. Even though that wasn't actually her greatest love, it wasn't the thing that she wanted to be doing forever. She actually wanted to be doing the marketing, but it's not where her greatest opportunity was. The reason why Chalene is the Chalene that we know her of today is because she focused on one thing and she became known for it. And that was her springboard. It was her springboard to all the other things that she's done in her career. So the other place that I see people getting a little caught up, especially when I'm in coaching conversations with them, and we're talking about who is the person that you serve, they start telling me a list of all the clients that they've ever helped, and they tell me all the different problems and all the different results that they helped that person achieve. And then they say, you see, I can do so many things. I can solve so many problems. But what's happening is your message, your ability to craft a message that is potent and prolific, and a message that is going to lead someone to go on this journey with you to then eventually buy your program, your ability to position yourself as the leader of that thing that's going to help them, it's almost impossible, because not all those people were actually your most ideal clients. So I want you to really focus on who is the most ideal client, that when they work with you, they're able to access your greatest level of genius, and they are able to get the greatest return on their investment, and be able to speak about their problems and the results that they desire, and be able to describe a day in the life of your ideal client as they would say it, as they would describe it, as they are experiencing it. You've got to be really relevant in your languaging and in your messaging, or that person who you say is your ideal client does not see you as the answer. So that is always step number one. And I would say that that is a step that no matter how long you've been in business, every time you come up with a new offer, even if you've been in business for 10 years, even if you're already making 6 or 7 figures, you're still going to return back to that same basic principle every single time. Because with every single offer that you have in your business, you are potentially solving a slightly different problem. You're helping someone get a slightly different result. For instance, the result that I could help somebody get in a 6-week self-study course is a very different result than I would help someone get in my one-on-one coaching package. You can't even compare those two things. So right there, it's different positioning, it's different messaging, it's a slightly different ideal client. I'm probably solving a slightly different problem, and I'm helping someone achieve a slightly different result. You're not talking to the same person. So with every single offer, every single new offer you create, that is the place that you start. So step number 2 is build a community where you are the leader of that community. Clearly, I am using a Facebook group. I teach my clients to build their own community where they're the leader inside of a Facebook group. So whether you don't have a Facebook group right now, or you have a Facebook group that is a small-ish size, or you have a Facebook group that kind of needs to change its tone a little bit to really position you as the leader, do it. So whatever level you're at, your kind of like home base on the Facebook platform is your Facebook group. Out of all the social media platforms, Facebook is still the number one because of the level of data and metrics that Facebook provides us. Also, there's nothing else out there that most of us are using. I mean, I think the top 4 are probably Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. There's others, but I think out of those of us who are here, those are probably the top 4. There's no place on any of those 4 platforms that can compare to Facebook groups, like Facebook groups. It has very distinct features to it that you do not see on a business page or a personal page on Facebook. It functions very differently than groups on LinkedIn. There's not even an ability to create a group on Instagram. You can have the units, you can create the events, there's all different ways to create notifications. You know, your community actually really does feel a bit like a family. So you definitely want to have your own community in a place that feels and functions like a community, and you want to position yourself as a dominant leader of that community. This is the place where you can do your weekly Facebook Live show. I teach all of my clients to do a weekly Facebook Live show. This is where people can come and learn from you and get free value from you. I also teach a process called Launching Made Easy. We launch our flagship group program Momentum right here inside of our Facebook group. Every once in a while, we'll create a pop-up group that's separate from this, but this is where we are inviting our ideal clients to come and hang out with us and learn from us and get to know us. It's where we are nurturing our new and our existing community members. It's where we get the opportunity to know you and connect with you, not just teach you, not just give you value, but we get to know who you are as a person, obviously the more that you show up here. It's also where we make our offers. So I want you to look at your Facebook group. Yes, it is a place where you are building community. You are bringing people together. So by default, you are kind of seen as the leader. Number two, you're establishing yourself as a dominant leader in the particular category and lane at which you are training, teaching, and coaching people. And then it's doing three things for you, which these are the three most important things that all of us should be doing in our business every day anyway, which is inviting new people into our world. So your Facebook group is always a place where you can invite people to come to and receive value and get to know, like, and trust you. This is a place where you get to nurture your audience, and it's also insanely fun to nurture you all and get to know you right here inside of our Facebook group that we've built together. And then number three, it's where you're making your offers. So it's where you're making your sales. You could literally build almost your entire business right inside of a Facebook group. It also gives your community members a really easy place to invite their people to join. One of the ways that we grow our Facebook group here is because you all are inviting people to come and join it. So start a community. If you already have one, build the community and make sure that what's going on inside of your community is exactly what your ideal clients want access to. You know, it's really our job to be moving people from I'm on the fence about working with you to moving them into a place where they are ready to make a decision to work with us. So at any given time, when we are making a sale, only about 3% of our audience is ready to buy and say yes in that particular moment. There's this other group of people. It makes up about 67% of your audience. But that 67% isn't ready to buy from you right now. They might be ready to buy from you tomorrow, maybe next week, next month, possibly next year. So it is your job, and a Facebook group community is one of the best places and ways to do this. It's your job to move those 67% into the 3%, so that the next time you come in front of them and you make an offer, you've moved some of those people over to be part of the 3% and they're ready. And then there's 30 other percent of your audience and they're never ever going to buy from you ever, ever, ever. So just don't worry about them. So that is step two. And step two is really an always and forever. You don't just build a community one time and then you get rid of your community. It's something that really needs to be part of your entire business makeup. Part of your daily activity is cultivating this community. All right, step number three is find out what your market wants and how they say it. I kind of already said this in step one. Step one was about what's the problem you solve. Step three is to find out what your market wants, but more importantly even, find out how they say it. So one of the things that may not really be landing with your audience, if you are someone who is developing consistent content in the form of posts, emails, Facebook Lives, webinars, whatever it is that you're doing, one of the things that may not be landing is you are totally talking about whatever you want to talk about. But sometimes where the ball is dropped and where the dots are not being connected is, are you speaking the same language that your ideal client is speaking? How do they describe what it's like to be them? How do they describe what it's like at 11 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 11 o'clock at night when they're laying in bed and they can't go to sleep? How do they say what it is that they want? What is it that they believe that they want? How do they think about what they want? And is it in alignment, and is it are they using the same words that you're actually using? So you may solve the problems they want solved. You may help them achieve the result that they desire, but you may not be using the words that they actually understand or that they're accustomed to using or that they're used to hearing all the time, or that they're even saying or thinking in their own mind silently to themselves. And if any of us think about the times when we have made a purchase, especially from a sales page, you know, I guess I don't really sell much from a sales page at all. I never have. But I've certainly purchased things from just reading a sales page. Like, didn't see a video, didn't hear an audio. This was more like years ago. But I have purchased things from a sales page, just reading a 20-page long sales page. And when I think back to the sales pages where I ended up buying the product being sold, it's because I can distinctly remember there were sentences on the sales page that literally were word for word saying exactly what I had been thinking every single day. And I would have this reaction like, oh my gosh, I've never even met this person. How do they know that? How do they know that about me? How are they literally writing on a sales page the exact phrases that I'm thinking in my head, complaining about, frustrated with, want to change, want to fix? And I remember thinking like, are they bugging my house? Are they somehow like listening in through my computer and then they're like writing it on their sales page? That's what would go through my mind. And so as a consumer, of course, you immediately have this belief that that person gets me, that person sees me, hears me, understands me. And if they are speaking my language like that, then by golly, their signature process must be designed to get me from that place to where I desire to be. We're only going to link arms with a coach or a service provider who we fully 100% believe hears us, sees us, understands us, and gets us. And the way that you're doing that is through the words that you're using. It is through what you're saying in your Facebook Lives, your posts, your emails, and also your conversations. So are you having conversations? Are you talking to people? And are you listening to people? I caught this like short 4-minute clip yesterday, and it was Gary V. And he was being interviewed by someone in his office, and she was talking about the girl that was asking him questions. I don't remember the exact question that I know what she asked. She said, do you read a lot of books? Like, do you learn a lot from reading books? And he goes, no, I've never read a book. I don't read books. And she was like, oh, you just write books. And he's like, yeah, I just write books. I don't read books. And so they were like all kind of laughing in his office. And he goes, here's the problem with everybody. And it's actually pretty true. He goes, here's the problem with everybody. The problem with all of you out there is you're so worried about your content and how it's going to sound and what people are going to think about you and the angle and the headline. And you're so totally consumed about all that, so much so that you're forgetting to actually listen to people. And he goes, here's what I do. I don't read anything. Not like books. And he's like, I'm not sitting here thinking about my content at all. He goes, I sit here and I'll make a post and I'll just make it without like thinking about it. And I go read every single comment. I read every single comment on a tweet that I make. I make a post on Instagram. I read every single comment. And he said, 90% of them are really positive, and 10% of them, it's your haters, it's your trolls, it's the people who are trying to tear you down. And he was like, 1 out of 10 of those, there's actually a lot of truth to it. But he said, where I learn the most about what my audience wants is by reading what they're saying in the comments. He goes, I listen. I'm listening 90% of the time. I'm creating content 10% of the time. So another little tidbit of a lesson that we can learn from Gary V. How much are you listening to your client? Whenever I have clients ask me, they'll ask me, what do I call this? How do I say this? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not your ideal client. What is your ideal client saying? Are you listening to them? Are you asking them questions? Are you having conversations with them? One of the ways that you can really figure out what your audience wants is go into other Facebook groups. Just go read the comments on posts and go collect information. Your ideal client is everywhere. They're everywhere. So if what you're saying isn't landing, there's a reason for that. Go listen to them more and you'll sell a whole lot more. All right, we're going to start getting into some juicy stuff now. So step number 4 I'm on another page looking at my notes and I'm flip-flopping back over here. So step number 4 is map out your signature system. This is also known as a signature framework. This is your signature process. But what is a thing that you are going to walk people through? You're going to bring a client in who's at point A. Your client desires for you and your program to get them to point B. They expect you to have a process. In fact, most people are deciding to join your program or your offer because you have a process in place. So here's the other thing about everybody's ideal client. Your ideal client, who is a buyer, we're talking specifically about somebody who's ready to buy. So somebody who's ready to buy from you, they've already been trying to get the result. A buyer is not someone who's never tried to get the result before. They've tried, even if they've tried on their own without investing any money in a product, a service, or an offer. So you got to remember that, okay? And this is important when we talk about signature framework. Your ideal client in their mind is playing back the tape of all the things that they've tried in the past to get the result that you say you promise. So all the things that are going through their mind when they're listening to you talk, when they're reading your posts, when they hear your sales pitch, when they're in a conversation with you, when they're listening to you talk about your signature framework, what's going through their mind, one of the things, is all the things that they've tried in the past. And clearly they're listening to you because everything they've tried in the past didn't get them to point B. So now they're not only thinking about the process that they've tried in the past, now they're thinking about how it didn't work. And they're still not where they want to be. And they're still looking for a solution that's going to work for them. Do you see how that is going on in their minds? So when it comes to your signature framework, and you are presenting that to your audience and your community and to your ideal client, their ears are like perked up, their radar is on, because nobody is going to buy, I am going to fix the problem and I'm going to fix the thing that didn't work before. Nobody is going to pay money for that. What they're actually looking for is a new opportunity. They're looking for a new breakthrough, but through a new mechanism or a new process that they have not tried before. It's just like with dieting. If somebody has tried Weight Watchers 3 times, they're not going to go back to Weight Watchers a 4th time. They're going to go try the paleo diet. And then when that doesn't work, they're going to go to the Mediterranean diet. And when that doesn't work, they're going to go to a keto diet. And when that doesn't work, they're going to hire a nutritionist. And when that doesn't work, they're going to go hire a personal trainer. But do you see how they don't keep going back to Weight Watchers? Even though all the other things might have a lot of similarities to Weight Watchers, which they probably do, most diets all have a whole lot of similarities. But they're not going to go back to the thing that didn't work for them multiple times. They're going to go try the new thing. They're going to go try the thing that is a different set of steps. It's a different framework. It's a different process. Also, one of the things that really puts you on the map as a coach and creates what I call, it allows you to create a league of your own. You know, we talk a lot about getting to the top of our field, the top of our industry, the top of our category, but are you actually thinking, I want to create a league of my own? One of the ways that you do that is through your signature framework. So for instance, I have a couple of frameworks, but the one that you probably hear about the most from me is my Launching Made Easy framework. That's a signature framework. You've been hearing me talk about it, if you've been here for a while, since last year in the summer. So I've been talking about the Launching Made Easy framework for over a year now. My clients use it. I use it. I teach it in my program Momentum. I even run my 9-day launch, my 9-day workshop. It's called the Launching Made Easy Workshop. So whenever people talk about me or they refer people to me, or when I get invited to be interviewed on a podcast, in a telesummit, on a stage, when I'm asked to be a guest expert in someone's paid program, you know what every single one of them asks me? I want you to come on and talk about your Launching Made Easy framework. So what starts to happen is they hear your name, and your name is now associated with your signature framework, your process. So that framework, you need one main signature framework that might have other pillars and frameworks underneath it. But here's how you make getting to 500K a year really simple. This is how you keep your business simple too. You take the framework, and it's the same framework that you would run a client through if they were working with you one-on-one. It's the same framework that you run in your group coaching program. So if you've got 30 clients in a group, they're still all going through the same framework that you did with your one-on-one client. If you go then create a course that costs $1,000 or $2,000, you're teaching the same framework that you're doing with your group that you do with your one-on-one. If you go host a live event, like a 2 or 3 day live event, or if you have a 5-day retreat in person, what are you teaching? You're teaching your same signature framework. I hope light bulbs are going off in your mind. One signature framework. You're teaching the same signature framework no matter what the offer is. Now, what changes inside those offers? So if somebody goes from being in your one-on-one program to your group to your course, the difference between those three is this. Obviously, people are investing more money, but why? Well, if they're working with you one-on-one, they have more access to you than the people in your group. And your group has more access to you than people taking your course, especially if it's self-study. So access to you goes up. The depth at which you can really work with a client on the actual process. There's only so far you can take somebody in a course that's like self-study. You can only go so deep in your process. In a group setting, you can go a lot deeper than you can in a course. Work with somebody one-on-one, and the whole entire thing is 100% customized to them, personalized to them. You can go super deep. You can talk about other things. So you can go deeper. It's more access to you, more time with you, more customized and more personalized to the individual. But it's still your same system. That should make you looking at your business model and what your offers are so incredibly simple, so that one of the things that slows people down from getting to a 500K a year is number one, they're creating too many offers, and they're creating them too quickly. And when you create too many offers too quickly, what you're doing to yourself is you're not giving yourself an opportunity to figure out the marketing system, the sales system, and the delivery system and master it for one offer. And so you create an offer, and then you create another and another and another. And the reason why none of them are working well or well enough is because you're not letting yourself master any of it. So that's one thing. The other thing that I see is people are starting out with, and I'm going to get to this in a second, they're starting out with really low price point programs in the beginning, and that is a really, really slow growth. The other problem that I see is people will launch a program, and then all those people are done with the program, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I have to go create another offer for them now. And so now you're creating another offer, and then they're done, and then you have to go create another offer for them, so you go create another offer, but then you haven't really gotten into a rhythm with the first one. So now you don't have any new people coming into the first one to fill the pipeline. So these people get to your third program, and what are you going to do? Just keep creating new programs for the same people? I can't tell you how many times I've actually seen coaches do that, and they never even get to $100,000 a year. All right, so your signature framework is step 4, and you might be thinking like, well, I don't know what my signature framework is. You do know what your signature framework is. Your signature framework is how are you even taking a client from where they are when they start with you to where they desire to be. If you don't know what those steps are, you should not be coaching those people. You should not be claiming that you can coach people in that particular area if you don't have a pathway mapped out for them to get there. So in the beginning, you at least want to have done that for yourself. And so you can just teach what you did. And then you want to do it with a few people, one-on-one, preferably first, and then you can do your group. So signature framework, I could keep going on and on and on, but it serves a lot of purposes for you. The biggest thing is it really puts you on the map and you become known for that. And it is one of the fastest ways to get to a 500K a year coaching business because your business is really based on that one signature framework. All right, step 5 is get your first 10 paying clients. So there are always exceptions to every rule. And this step right here is really for people who are newer in business or they have totally pivoted and they have gone to a completely new market, completely new ideal client, completely new everything. I was just having, let me give an example. Right before I got on this call, I had a coaching session with one of our new Momentum members, and I do a bonus sometimes where you get a fast action bonus of a one-on-one coaching session with me. I can't remember how I'd use the bonus this time, but she got a bonus and it was a one-on-one coaching session with me. She is not new to business. She has been running businesses for years. She's got a finance degree. She was a lawyer before. She ran businesses when she was even a teenager and in her 20s, running businesses then. Not online coaching businesses either. She has worked with, 15 to 20 different types of companies. She's been a gym owner. She has sold companies. She's got a plethora of expertise. And we just started working together about a week and a half ago. And so one of the things that she's been kind of confused about is because she's completely going in a brand new direction. She used to coach lawyers. She doesn't want to do that anymore. She's coached gym owners, doesn't want to do that anymore. Like, she's got tons of experience. And so just because she's got all this experience doesn't necessarily mean that she needs to go launch a group tomorrow, because she hasn't actually built herself up in this particular new niche and new direction that she's going in. So we chatted a little bit. We got really, really clear on the direction. We created the criteria for her ideal client for one-on-one. We came up with 5 pieces of criteria that they had to meet to even be eligible to work with her. And she's going to charge $20,000 for her one-on-one coaching package. And my assignment to her was go get 5 clients. I didn't tell her by when she had to do it. You don't want to necessarily always put that constraint on yourself, like a timeline, because what if you could do it next week, but you were like, it's going to take me 2 months, but you could actually do it by next week. So her assignment is go get 5 $20,000 clients. Just do the math. 5 clients at $20,000. She can do it as fast or as slow as she wants. That's $100,000 in her pocket. Pretty much 100% profit, except for the coaching fee to work with me in Momentum, which when she came in was $6,000. So she's going to make her money back and then some and then some and then some. So the one-on-one coaching, yeah, it is great for people when you're just getting started. It is also really great for people if you've got a ton of experience, but you're pivoting your business and you're going in a new direction. It's also really great. I do think there are exceptions to the rule. I think that someone can start with groups if they have already established themselves as a leader, if they already have experience running groups from their career and their background, and if they're already relatively well known and they have built a community, even if it's in another category, and they already have a group of followers who really respect them and they know their followers really well and they know exactly what those people would buy. That person, I've had many clients like that. I've actually had many clients who had never coached somebody one-on-one, but they had built a different business. They were already seen as a leader. They had already built a personal brand for themselves, even if it was in another category, and they already had a following. And they could come right out of the gate. They could launch a group, they could fill a group, and they could be on their way. And lots of times those people never ever want to do one-on-one coaching. This is really talking about in the traditional sense of coaching. The other reason why, until you get to, honestly, I would say, well, that's not true. It's not true. But if you want to look at what's my fastest path to cash flow and growth, initially, you can charge the most for one-on-one. It's 100% profit. You don't have to spend any money to go get one-on-one clients. It's like, go have conversations. It's not hard. And it can put a lot of money in your pocket really, really fast. So kind of depending on where you're at, I generated probably like $200,000. Yeah, it was about, no, it was more, yeah, it was about $220,000 in the first 5 months of rebooting this business in 2017, all through one-on-one coaching. It's the very first thing I focused on. I got to about $200,000 to $220,000 in sales because not all that was pay in full. And then I immediately pivoted in month 4 and I started my first group that was 6 people at $5,000. And then I kept doing one-on-one and I kept filling that group. And then I started a mastermind at the end of the year. So the one-on-one really served the purpose for me to have super high profit, super high cash growth so that I could more easily pivot to a group back then. So that's your step 5. Whenever I work with clients, I always kind of, I can listen to them and I know what they're up for. I know what direction they can go in. So I kind of do that on a case-by-case basis. So step number 6 is host conversion events in front of your community. So I've been doing this for 9 years now, and I love studying people who, in my opinion, built a really successful coaching business really fast. And what I mean by that is like within less than 5 years, they were already at 500K years, if not 7-figure years in 5 years or less. And I want to study them because number one, I want to study their mentality, but I also want to study what were they doing in their business that really lent itself to that level of growth that quickly. Because doing that in 5 years, I mean, I'd say less than 10% of the people in our industry actually do that. So one of the things that I noticed about them is how consistently they were filling programs. So that was one of the first things I noticed. And then the second thing I noticed was how are they filling their programs so often? And how are they inviting all these people in and nurturing them pretty quickly and then moving them into a program? And so I started paying attention to this like 5 or 6 years ago. And one of the things that those folks who were getting to that financial level that fast, one of the things they were doing very differently than everybody else, but they were all doing it, is hosting conversion events. And they were hosting them often. And they were hosting them consistently. And they weren't hosting a whole bunch of different conversion events. There was a lot of repetition. And so I thought, so what they're doing is they're setting themselves up to become seen as the go-to person for fill in the blank. They are building a whole lot of trust with their audience because they're coming out with the same message consistently and frequently, kind of like clockwork. They are selling pretty much the same thing every single time. They might have a couple of other offers, but it was just like this rinse and repeat system that they had built for marketing, for lead generation, marketing, and sales. And they were mastering it because they were doing it over and over and over again. So then fast forward, I started my own business again in 2017. And by 2018, I noticed, I was like, what is the deal with my clients not getting even better results? So they would want to fill a group and they would not make enough sales to fill their group full enough. I mean, they would get like 3 or 4 clients in their group. And I was like, what is going on with this? And so I started paying really close attention to how they were trying to fill their groups. And they would put out social media posts, but it was like not even one a day with the call to action to join the program. They were doing like some random Facebook lives. They were doing some random emails, and they were doing like some random reaching out to people to join their program. And so I was like, well, that's not going to work. And so then I was thinking back to, well, what have I always seen people do that work so well? And I was like, my clients are not hosting conversion events. And at the time, I wasn't teaching how to host a conversion event to fill your group program. It's just not why people were hiring me back then. But I felt like, I was like, gosh, I'm doing such a disservice to my clients because they want to fill these groups, but I don't really have like this special way to help them do it. So I actually started kind of putting the pieces together of the Launching Made Easy framework back in 2018, and I started doing it with my clients first. And we started hosting, and I have actually never taken a course or had a coach that taught me like the 5-day challenge model. Like that's the most like, you hear about I'm going to do a 5-day challenge. I've never been taught how to do that. So I started working with my clients to figure out, well, what's your signature system? We just need to take your signature system. We need to plot it out over the course of a certain number of days. I had already taught them to build a Facebook group. So you're going to do this right inside of your Facebook group. You're going to have bonuses. You're going to have a cart open and a cart close date, but it's going to be short because we've got to create urgency and we don't want to burn out. And we need to keep rolling out the same conversion event with the same name, teaching the same thing, and inviting people to join the same program every single time. And it started working. And I wasn't even doing it myself this way yet. And some of my clients were having like multiple 5-figure results from that. And so then I started filling my programs in that way. And that is actually where the Launching Made Easy framework and then the Launching Made Easy workshop actually came from. It's from what I noticed people doing first. Then I saw a problem with my own clients. I started building it out for them. They were getting success from it. And then I started doing it. And we actually have our next workshop starting on Monday, September the 21st. Let me show you that link. Here it is. It's down at the bottom. So you can register for our Launching Made Easy. It's a 5-day workshop. So I teach the whole entire Launching Made Easy framework Monday through Friday. So you get to see what my signature framework is to fill group coaching programs. And then we have 4 more days of bonus material. So it ends up being a whole 9 days. So go to that link right now. Go ahead and get yourself registered. We are going to do some cool bonuses this time. So you only get access to our pre-workshop bonuses if you register for this. So you can't just come. It's not invite to everybody here. Only the people who physically register are going to get this bonus training before the workshop actually starts. And then we're going to have like some cool giveaways. You're going to have access to a bunch of reminders. You get to download the workbook. We have a really awesome workbook that goes along with our workshop. So make sure you get registered. And I would love for you to bring a friend. There's nothing better than doing this with somebody that you're showing up every single day. You're mapping out your launch. You're figuring out what your launch is going to look like. But we all need a little bit of accountability. So bring an accountability buddy with you. Just send them this link. Ask them to do it with you. Ask them to come along on the journey. And it'll be a lot of fun. All right, let me go back to my notes here. Oh, wait, you can't see it on the screen. I'll have to post it in the comments section for you guys right after this because I'm looking at my Be Live that's not working. Okay, so last couple of steps here to get to your 500K year. Step number 7 is launch your high-end group coaching program. So you know your ideal client, you know how to speak their language, you have developed this community in Facebook group, you know what your signature system is, you have got some experience underneath your belt, you have what I believe, because I did it and I've seen it, your fastest path to profits, like super high profit, is always going to be one-on-one. Even if you are already really experienced and you want to have like a big chunk of cash come in without having to spend any money to generate that, just go sell if you're already at multiple go sell a $30 or $40 or $50,000 one-on-one coaching package. Go sell a $100,000 one-on-one coaching package. What's stopping you from doing that? So even if you are already at the stage where you've kind of phased out of doing one-on-one, you can always do a special and sell a one-on-one package for multiple tens of thousands of dollars and pocket all of that 100% profit. So step 7 is launch the high-end group coaching program. Here's the mistake that most people make. Couple of mistakes, so don't do this. All right, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they take too long generating one-on-one clients. and it takes them like a year just to get like 10 one-on-one clients. And if it takes you a year to get 10 one-on-one clients, you're not quite ready to transition into a group yet. So it's like too slow of a growth process to kind of get yourself fully booked. So that's one problem that I see. And just like not everybody's in the same boat here. The other problem that I see is that people are not, okay, let me do this one first. People are skipping the group step, and they're going to create, they go into create, like thinking they have to create a really low ticket price course. So they go create a course for like 500 bucks or even less than that, like $297 or $397. And the rationale is, well, I need to give people a taster of me. And once they get a little taster of me, then they'll see that my group coaching program that costs $3,000 or $5,000 is actually worth it and valuable, and they'll spend the money with me. And let me just be really honest with you. The person who's buying your something at $297, they are not the same person who buys your $5,000 program. That's a different client. And they're definitely not the person who's going to buy your $10,000 program. So in theory, it kind of makes sense and it sounds good. Well, I'm going to start people out here, then they're all going to move up to here, and then they're all going to move up to here, and then they all move up here. It never works out that way because they're not the same client. Also, when you go create something that is really low ticket price, remember, only 3% of your audience is going to buy. So how many units of that $297 something are you going to have to go sell so that you have your 500K year? Which means you're doing a little less than $50,000 a month. Let's just say you're doing $45,000 a month. That's close to $500,000 a year. Let's just say $50,000 a month. That's like over that much. So $50,000 a month, you sell something for $297. I'll just get out my calculator. You have to sell 1,683 units of something that costs $297. %. Okay, so that number, what I just said, 1,000 whatever, is 3% of 56,000. Which means you basically need 56,000 people to go through your funnel so that 1,000 and whatever actually buy it, so that you make $500,000 if you're selling something for $297. And most people start a course that costs $297 when they have 200 people in their audience. You might make 2 sales, maybe 3, and then you've got like not even $1,000 in your pocket. So it's so backwards, the thinking. I want to cringe. I literally want to cringe every time one of you tells me that you have started a membership site. If you do not already have a list of at least 10,000 people, and you are not already making 6 figures or multiple 6 figures in your business. And I'm hearing people say that coaches are telling them to start a membership site. The problem with that, there's lots of problems, but the other problem is you're putting all of your time, effort, and attention on building out all this stuff and trying to sell something that costs no money. And you have to spend so much money on lead generation to have enough leads to even buy the thing. And then if you do not have a rock solid sales system and you can actually sell that, you're not going to sell it. You're not going to make any kind of money that's even going to pay your light bill. So in the traditional way, it's not even traditional. I mean, what I think is the best way is get your one-on-one clients, then move to your high-end group, then create a course from that. So your course comes from what's the framework I'm teaching in my group, just turn it into like a self-study course or whatever. So launch your high-end group coaching, like that comes a little later. It doesn't have to take forever though. I transitioned in month 4 of my business. I was already launching groups. For a lot of people, you're gonna have one-on-one and group for a while until you make enough money from your group so that you can phase out of the one-on-one. I highly recommend also the price of your group. A really great price point for a group is right around $5,000. You just have to do the math, but do the math on $5,000. I mean, that's a $100 launch, $100,000 launch if you bring 20 people into your $5,000 group coaching program. Do that 5 times in 1 year. So I launch about 7 times a year. So if all I did was bring 20 people in at $5,000 7 times a year, and I did nothing else in my business, that's $700,000. That's what we're talking about here. So you've got to be really smart with your price points, with the numbers, with your audience size, with not trying to do too many different offers at one time, because you've got to get really good at that. But I want you to see that just with the high-end group coaching program, that can be a $500,000 stream of income for you if you will play your cards right. $5,000, launch it 5 times throughout the year. That's one more than once a quarter. 20 people into that program each time, there's your $500,000. Like, that is literally how simple this can be for you. Step 8, scale your high-end group coaching program. Big mistake that people make. They fill their group and then they go create another offer. Oh my gosh. Again, you want me to reach through the computer and like grab you and pull you back? It will be when you do that. I will see people have such an amazing launch. Even if the first time they launch, it's like $20,000. That's amazing. For a first launch, like, do not ever complain when you make money. I'll see people do like a $30,000, a $50,000, whatever. And then they go have a harebrained idea to go create another type of offer. And it's like, oh my gosh, you literally had a $500,000 stream of income sitting right in your lap. And all you had to do was go back out there and repeat it again. That's all you had to do. You just had to go repeat it again. My clients who are actually repeating our Launching Made Easy launch framework, which I'm going to teach you in our workshop starting on September 21st, and they're selling the same group coaching program, and they're running their launch multiple times throughout the year, they are seeing $20,000, $30,000. Somebody just finished yesterday. She had a $32,000 launch, I think. Somebody else just did one. She had a $37,000 launch. I've had someone do 2 in a row. I think one was like $70,000 and the other time she did it was $85,000. I have another client who's been running the Launching Made Easy framework for a year. She's done it for a whole year. I think she's done it 6 times. Every single time she does it, more clients say yes, which means she's making more money. But where people are tripping themselves up is they have a decent launch, the first one, and if they would have just doubled down and turned right back around and done it again and continued to generate the leads and mastered it, mastered the marketing, mastered the sales, mastered the delivery, but instead they go create another offer because they think they're ready and you're not. Stop creating all the offers. Like, oh my gosh, focus on scaling the one group that you have. We've been running our flagship group coaching program, Momentum, for a year. I will not kid you when I say it has taken me and my team a year of running this program, and we've done 6 launches for it, I think, to get it to be this like phenomenal, well-oiled like education machine inside that program. But it took us launching it over and over and over and onboarding people in different ways each time and trying different things. I mean, we even moved our content from one platform to another, teaching in new ways. I've hired 4 people. The way that we deliver the content, I mean, everything has changed, and it literally has taken us a year of doing it over and over and over again to feel like, you know what, we kind of have this down pat. And we still have so much room to grow. And so where I'm at now with that program is now it's actually at a place now, a year into it, 6 launches. I think we have 60 plus clients have gone through that program. Um, and I now feel like, okay, now I can really take it to another level and scale it. Like now it's actually positioned so that it can scale, and that will be a multiple 7-figure stream of income. Multiple 7-figure stream of income from one program. And it's possible for every single one of you, but you have to stick with it. You have to be consistent. You have to be repetitive. You're going to have launches that suck. I still have launches that suck. I still have times that things do not go the way I wanted them to go, but you can't throw in the towel on that. So give yourself the opportunity to scale. And then step number 9, now you launch your course. You are not ready to launch a course until you have scaled your group. Now, everybody can sit here, we can argue, we can fight. You can tell me, 15 different examples. You don't even have 15. You can tell me 2 examples of people who you're like, but wait, Megan, they didn't do it this way, they did it this way. Well, I would love for you to go have a sit-down conversation with that person and interview them. And I want you to ask them very nitty-gritty questions, and I want you to find out what they actually went through to be able to do what they did the way that they did it. Because we get so enamored by someone who's making a killing in their business, and they're doing it following a certain pathway, but what you don't know is the team working behind the scenes. You don't know the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that. You don't know the sacrifices that were made. You don't understand the amount of money that they've invested to build that. You don't know how much they're actually profiting. Most businesses that have these internet marketing, funnel, automation, all kinds of things going on businesses, they are lucky if they're profiting anywhere between 20 and 30%. 20 and 30%. So if you're going to go the direction of membership sites and courses too soon, you're going to have to pay to play in order to make that really work for you. And it's much lower profit. So the way that I teach here is let's get you to 500K, a 500K year first, or at least really, really close to that in a year without spending a whole lot of money, without having to hire a bunch of people, without really dipping heavily into your profit. You're still going to have to, dip into it a little bit, but let's get this like incredibly solid foundation and scale your group and have a repetitive way, predictable, proven process that you have allowed yourself to master over the course of a year or 2. And it takes different amounts of times for anybody. Then you've got all this money that you've banked that now you can reinvest into things like the course, the Facebook ads, the funnels, hiring the people to build all that out for you. Now you actually know what works. But if you try to jump into that before you know exactly what sells and you know how to close and you know the messaging that works and the marketing that works and you've got your ideal client nailed and you know exactly what they're going to say yes to because you've tested it out so many times, don't think that you're just going to be able to pop up a course and pop up a funnel and think that that stuff's going to sell until you've mastered everything that you need to master so that it does sell. So your course actually comes towards the back end of that. And then last but not least, I know I'm talking forever here, is step 10, develop mastery, rinse and repeat. Those are your steps right there. It is so simple. It is, honestly, to me, it's the most common sense way to grow a coaching business to 500K a year or more. And if you will stick to that process, pick a strategy, pick a tactic, get really clear on who your ideal client is, get really clear on your offers, focus on high profits early in your business. I know some of you are not new. I know a lot of you have been in business for a little while. And transition into groups, but don't just go try to fill a group once and then say, oh, this doesn't work. And then go try to create a bunch of these other little tiny offers, little tiny courses, little things that you're not going to make hardly any money on, that you don't actually know how to sell, that you need to have thousands of leads coming in through paid advertising so that you can actually sell it. Don't do it in that way. One-on-one, sometimes people can skip one-on-one. Groups, scale the group, then the course. I promise you, you can actually get to 500K years without even a course. You could get there from one-on-one coaching and a high-end group, and then you scale the group, And if you want to have a third offer like a mastermind, I have a mastermind too. I just have 2 offers, Momentum and Rise to Legendary. And you can do it that way as well. So hopefully this brought a little bit of truth, a little bit of simplicity, a little bit of focus and direction for how you really want to be approaching your coaching business without going down avenues that are not going to be financially profitable for your business and quite frankly are going to drive you crazy to the point where you think it's you. And I'm here to promise you that it typically is not you. It is that you have been misguided in the best, fastest, most simple pathway, the pathway of least resistance and least amount of stress and least amount of time on distractions to grow your 500K a year coaching business. So thank you so much for being here for our weekly Momentum with Megan Facebook Live show. I know this was a long one. We had some tech issues at the beginning. And like I said, I'm going to pop in the link for you to register for our upcoming Launching Made Easy workshop. It starts on September 21st. And I want to challenge you to bring at least one person along with you who is also a coach, who is ready to be launching their own group coaching programs and then eventually scaling so that we can get your business to 6 and multiple 6 figures and beyond through our Launching Made Easy framework and teaching you how we help you create high-end group coaching programs. So I'll pop the link in the comment section for you there so that you can register. And I will see you inside the Facebook group, and we will be back again next week for our weekly Facebook Live show, Momentum with Megan.